Welcome to the Squarebase Show, and what is an exciting review of the Arcane Journal for the Warriors of Chaos. Let's hope that we maraud our way through this well. I'm joined by Farm Heffelfinger. Whoa. Okay.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to everyone on the internet, both friends and foes today, haters and lovers. Please do leave comments about how you think the Warriors of Chaos review is going to go. The Arcane Journal, very exciting. The most popular faction in the old world gets its Arcane Journal.
Big statement.
Well, no, the most popular set of events, at least. The highest meta representation army. So this is pretty interesting because, will this dynamically change how warriors play? That's what we're looking for. And then what's it also going to do to progress the story, which I know something you'd like to touch off. And I think I'd like to start there, if that's okay, because this is a thing that they've been talking about a lot. And there's also some cool updates from the Arcane Journal on this. Do you want to hit me with Chaos's place in the old world at this time?
Yeah, I think if you're tuning in, I hope that you watched our deep dive on the Warriors of Chaos Grand Army list. And I think in the lead up to these Arcane Journals, it's really actually, I think, awesome to go back and actually, because we used to be just thirsting for any morsel we could get. And so they often will do these roundtables where the designers and writers of the game actually discuss some of their thoughts about the game. And the ones for Warriors of Chaos are some of the most candid and interesting, I think. And I think they give some insight into the sort of the oeuvre of Warriors of Chaos, because I think, look, undeniably powerful Grand Army list, and there's some really, really cool stuff in this Arcane Journal. But we last left off with Warriors of Chaos winning, right? In the end times, the forces of chaos were ascended, right? They win, right? They are the most powerful thing. They win the Game of Thrones and they blow it all up because they're chaos and they can't have nice things. But I think something to view, one way to view the way Warriors of Chaos are shaping up in Old World is that they are genuinely chaos ascendant. And so I remember when I first saw the list of units, it was missing things like the Skull Crushers. We don't have the Chaos War Altar. There's I think aside from the Demon Prince, nothing really demonic. It just feels like a bunch of barbarians coming down from the north. And I think that's very much on purpose. And the stuff that's elite, like that elite chaos stuff, specifically the Warriors of Chaos, are very expensive. And, chosen are, you're only allowed one unit of each of the chosen types per army, so they're very limited. And I think that speaks from a design philosophy that the version of Warriors of Chaos that we're seeing at this stage in the development of, Warhammer the Old World, or what will be, the World of Legend or whatever in the future, is that those are the elites, right? And so they're expensive, not necessarily just because they're good, but also because they're rarer at this time. And you see less. A lot of people in this Arcane Journal, we've got one cool Army of Infamy that we're going to talk about. A lot of people are like, well, why aren't they, Chaos Marks? Why aren't they themed around Khorne or Slaanesh or Nurgle or something like that? And the answer is that, the actual choice that they're trying to support with their rules here is a feeling of chaos undivided, more of a much less coordinated version of chaos.
You see that twice. You see that twice in this book, don't you? Like you say, there's the two armies of infamy, where one is very much these are just the Marauder guys. They're just tangentially near chaos as opposed to attached. And then you get that all in Frydaal the Chainmaker's story, right? Where she the first half is this is what she's doing. And she's only just started to dedicate herself more heavily to chaos. And here is that part of the story. So, you're only starting to see people these warlords, if you will, start to understand that if they do dedicate themselves to chaos, they're going to get even more power in what they're looking for. So they definitely try and push that story in the book, I think, that concept.
Yeah. And so I think that's a good place to come at it from. And so a lot of those sort of primordial oozy chaos, so we're going to see like Spawn, stuff that like, and maybe that's also maybe why Forsaken is good. So stuff that's starting to be tainted, stuff that's starting to like be taken over by chaos rather than like, focused or controlled chaos. That's I think more of the vibe that it is being go for. And I think viewing Warriors of Chaos through that lens maybe takes a little bit of the like, no, but my Warriors of Chaos they don't have full plate armor and like blah, blah, like that. And by the way, that voice was mocking. I apologize.
That's me. You're doing my voice.
That was not meant to be Rob or any specific...
I was like, my Warriors of Chaos don't have full play. He was like, I'm going to quote you when we do this next video.
But I think that's why, because thematically that's where we are. These guys are not who they become, and also they're not even close to who they become in this version of the timeline. I think one of the things that maybe I find a little frustrating right now about Old World is, well, there hasn't been a ton of lore, but the they're doing world building. Warhammer: The Old World right now as a game is setting the stage for where they want to take it in the future, and I think that's genuine. And so we're not getting a lot of like big overarching narratives, which makes me very interested to see. They're hinting a little bit maybe at like a Marienburg thing for Empire, which I would be so horny for, but I don't think you see a lot of like the really specific, armies of infamy that are like, this is, this group of people from this place, which when we think of, coming into the penultimate Great War Against Chaos, second to last, we're all thinking about like this big battle with chaos, but we're not there, We're in the 1990s right now.
It's like those episodes in the TV show, right? Which I always value, where they're like, "Oh, this episode had nothing. It was just all setting up stuff." And I'm like, "You need to set stuff up. You can't have constant payoff. That's weird." So you got to have it, and I'm okay with that. I don't mind a bit of world building because right now, I personally, as a hobbyist, feel like I'm doing some world building with the Old World. I'm building different units. I'm like kit bashing different sets. So I feel like I'm there and I'm okay with it. I don't need it. And I would like it. I'm glad that it's not set in stone. I'm glad that we're just being reintroduced to it. And they're like, hey, by the way, this will progress over the next few years. Far down the line, we know what the future is, but that's good.
And I just want to point out that this is the studio that has brought you 20 years of the Horus Heresy, where we know what happens in the end.
Yeah.
So, and
they're still releasing kits.
Like we might get to the War Against Chaos, the Great War Against Chaos, when we're retired.
Val, we might not live to see it.
That's also super true. Like not even in a we all die perspective, but like Rob and I live like a pretty decent lifespan, and we just don't live to see the end of this. So,
so anyway, with that cheery news, there are 2 armies of infamy, but there are also a bunch of special characters. I think the best thing to do right now is to look at a couple of the special characters first. So that's what we're going to do. So first one we're going to talk about is Frydaal the Chainmaker. Chainmaker. That's right. So very Bast of JTY and the gang. Super Bast. So she is an exalted champion. So and her background is that she was a piratess captainess. I don't know where the S sits. Piratess captainess.
We can just say pirate.
Yeah, she was a piratess, and then marauding, and then eventually she stops marauding and goes north, gets a bunch of chaos boons, brings a new war host down and starts attacking. So that's her thing. So she's got a pretty beefy stat line. She's 235 points. She's toughness 4, which is good. 3 wounds, great. Strength 5 is very nice, I'm going to say. Weapon skill 6 and leadership 9 is also really nice. But if we start looking at her special, she's also got full plate and shield. So she's got 3 up armor save. And because she's got chaos armor, she's got a 5 up ward save. So that's just a load of magic items baked into her at 235 points, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And then special rules, she's got ambushes, which I think we should definitely come back to. She's got Chainmaker, which is a special rule. She's got Commando Captain, which is a special rule. And Source of Weapons, she's got Gaze of the Gods. She's got Impact Hits 1 because she got beefed up by the Chaos Gods. Mark of Chaos, Undivided. She's a Peerless Raider, which is another special rule. And she's got the Rallying Cry. So anything off the top?
I mean, first rule of thumb, that's a lot of rules. A lot of rules for 235 points. Because she's exalted as well, not eating into, your other slots and allotments for, the other higher tiers of chaos characters. Crap. What's the one above exalted?
Chaos Lord.
Chaos Lord and
Chaos Sorcerer Lord, Demon Prince.
Oh, there's another one. Crap, I got lost. No, I think she's really, really good, and especially as the quote force multiplier, because of what she does. Like, so ambush as a general rule is bad. So it's on a 4-up, you get to come in, you get to come in off the board. You can roll no 4-ups for a long time.
That's true.
And so maybe we should key on that special rule first. What is that? What does she do? Anything for ambush? Does she help her beleaguered raiders?
Yeah, she's got a Peerless Raider. 0 to 1 units of Chaos Marauders or Marauder Horsemen in the same muster list as a Frydaal may have the Ambush special rule for free. In addition, which is great, if Frydaal is your general, you may apply +1 or -1 modifier to the result when rolling to determine if any of the Chaos Marauders, Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Tribe Huskarls, which we'll talk about in a bit, or the Marauder Tribe Berserkers, we'll talk about in a bit, with the Ambush special rule that is currently held in reserve arrives this turn as reinforcements or is delayed. Now, I actually really like that it's a +1, -1, because like Val says, you might not get them, so being able to more regularly guarantee that they'll come on the board is obviously excellent, but you may also not want them on that turn. So if they'd have ever done +1 and never done the -1, and I know they've done this in other books as well, I'd have never thought about, it'd be cool to have a -1, but now that it's there, I'm like, that's actually good and nice flexibility, I'd argue. So she does that, and good for a force multiplier, right?
Yes, especially once we get into the Sea Wolves. By the way, that thing I was rambling about, it not impacting your character composition, incorrect. I was completely wrong. So yeah, correct. It's 0 to 1 Exalted Champion or Sorcerer Lord per 1,000 points. So yeah, she does take away from that a little bit. So yeah, I think Peerless Raider now. I mean, for those of us who love the idea of like null deploying or just doing later game shenanigans coming out of ambush. I mean, it's very vivid. I always love that idea of like, in 40K, I love deep striking armies. I love that sort of thing. Now it's sort of, again, gives you that little bit of control. And unlike, say, Kicknick, who's a character who has a very similar rule for the Orcs and Goblins, for example, we're not just bringing in a bunch of Wolf Riders. We're bringing in some heavy machinery, which is pretty cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I think that's an excellent rule. And again, we talked about this in the deep dive, but mobility or at least force projection is a problem in this army. So being able to ambush armies units on right at the top of the board, right at the right near your opponent's lines, adds a lot of strength to the army. She's also the Chainmaker. She's got a special rule, and enemy standard captured by Frydaal or any unit she has joined is worth 100 victory points as a trophy of war, which is very fun. That's very fun. I really like that they're adding kind of victory point conditions up or down to units. That's pretty fun design space, right?
Yes, I like that, and also gives you an additional win condition too. Like, so that getting her after some standards is good. One issue with this rule, just a little bit of a downer, is not a lot of standards being taken right now.
Correct.
So it doesn't necessarily come up a ton. But yeah, I think it's a fun and fluffy thing, and might be the difference between a draw or a win and a loss. So that's really good.
And then Commander and Captain, unless she's fleeing for any units of Chaos Marauders, Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Tribe Huskarls, or Marauder Tribe Berserkers, gain +1 modifier to their leadership characteristic whilst within Frydaal's command range. And seeing as, well, not all of them, it depends. Some of the units might be Chaos Undivided. Probably not if you go for a bunch of Marauders. You're probably specking into having a ton of attacks. I don't know. But maybe you're going Undivided, but maybe not. But if so, +1 leadership and also being able to reroll those tests because of the Mark of Chaos Undivided is quite nice. But +1 leadership is always just amazing. No
Yeah,
arguments.
it's never going to hurt. Particularly useful if maybe you're not taking her as the general, and maybe want her to beef up something, because you could just take her as a. Does she get the +1/-1 herself, or is it only if she's the general that it works at all?
No, because it calls out the units, because it's like Chaos Marauders, Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Tribe Huskars, and Berserkers, and she's none of those.
Oh, I just mean I didn't use the all my words. For Peerless Raider, for the +1/-1, does she and her unit always get it, or is it that rule only ever happen when she's the general?
If in addition, if she's your general, you may apply. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's going to be her as well, which is good.
Okay, cool.
So she's super fun, and I was a little bit disappointed in her, because the survivability is excellent, right? 3, like toughness 4, 3 up armor save, 5 up ward save. I'll take it. Yeah, weapon skill 6. I'll take it. That's nice. And I was a little bit disappointed about it. I was like, 4 attacks, strength 5. That's great, but actually, she's got a great weapon. So her Wrath Axe is strength +2, so strength 7, but only during the first round of combat. But then even then, when it drops out, it's got extra attacks D3, which are magical. They do require 2 hands, and they're AP 1. But that is a nice, good fighty profile. So you're going to have 5 to 8 attacks, at strength 5 or strength 7. AP 1, that's not bad.
Yep. And I guess she's got a big flail then? Is that what that is?
No, she's got a big flail. Yeah.
Big magic flail. That's pretty dope. And also, they've been hinting that this is a great model. I mean, not that they would say anything differently, but I'm really curious to see what she looks like.
Yeah.
I think it could be a cool opportunity for a nice little painting challenge.
I think, like some of the other characters that we've seen, like, we talked about with Orcs and Goblins, like this is a character that doesn't necessarily unlock, but it definitely helps create more of a theme around her, and also these ambushing marauders. I think that's excellent. I think that's really good. She herself is then not let down by being a little bit weak sauce. She's really good. Like, I don't
Perfectly
know.
Good.
I don't know if frontline infantry characters are any good. Normally they get in charge by something that's absolutely obnoxiously powerful. But
yes.
But yeah, ultimately, I think she's great. I think it's a good addition.
Let's also not forget she's got Gaze of the Gods, so she might be a bit of a dum dum by the end of the game, but she'll be a juiced up, roided maniac dum dum. So,
which is great as well. Good. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And I do like the gaining the victory points as well. I think you're absolutely right. We see very few banners. All right. So I'm gonna give her. Should we give her an out of 10? I'm giving her like an 8 or 9 out of 10. This is great. This is kind of what I want.
Yeah, that feels a bit high, because that feels like she's always going to be in Warriors of Chaos lists.
I more meant, sorry, I guess the parameters for the numbering. Just coolness factor, and it's fun what she brings to the army. Doesn't have to be like strong.
Yeah, okay. I think in which case, I think she's a really well constructed special character that makes me excited to think about the type of stuff that you can do. So I think with the Arcane Journals, when they're done well, it gives you the same ingredients, or like maybe a limited set of ingredients, and allows you to remix them, right? They're all about remixing what's already there in the Grand Army. And so, she 100% is a great piece for remixing, or even leaning into, some of the things that are probably more obviously good in Warriors of Chaos.
Also, now I don't want to be this guy, but this means you get to kit bash tons of pirate marauders. So, and you get to say things like, be charging, which is obviously great.
The thing about marauders is, like, weren't they always pirates? Like, they've always been.
They've always
Vikings.
been like
they're always
naked
been
Conan. No, they've always been Conan.
I know, but like that's the thing. Like the models are naked Conan, but like they're supposed to be like these. They're marauders. They're Vikings. So yeah. Anyway,
the new Dark Oath kits are great as well. Anyway, I think something that set the world ablaze is our next special character, Galrauch, the Great Drake. So the Great Drake, a level 4
best Drake I ever had
monster. The best Drake. I think Drake is not in a good position right now.
Is that the kids still like him? Huh?
I don't think they like him.
I'm from Toronto.
Yeah, I don't know if that's positive right now. Yeah. Anyway, The Great Crate. Big news is he's obviously crazy expensive, 465. But he is a level 4 wizard in addition to being a monster with 6 wounds at toughness 6 in full plate armor and armored hide. So he has a 3-up armor save and a 5-up regeneration. So I would argue pretty tough. And then there's a level 4 wizard. And then in addition, has got 6 attacks at strength 6. He's got weapon skill 6. He's got fly 10. So he's very fast. He's got swift stride and terror. He's got D6 stomp attacks in addition to all of that, which is very, very strong. So very, very solid and scary. And then he's got some special rules. So, but before we get to special rules, have you got any kind of hot takes on just that?
Well, immediately when I first looked at this guy, I thought, this seems pretty expensive. You lose the mount, you lose the rider. He would have normally been the mount. So like immediately, like my take would have been like, I don't know about this guy. But I think that was the wrong initial assumption of him. I think he's super handy. Also, if you like dragons, stay tuned, folks. Because Galrauch kind of unlocks a bit of a meme tier list of like just going triple chaos dragon once we learn about the Warpfire dragon later on. And also he is a very powerful caster, but also a bit of a but still has the potential to wade into a combat and beat stuff up. And also the breath weapons he has might actually be worth using.
Yes, very much could be worth using. I think my hot take is like whatever I think I need a level 4 to play the old world.
Yep,
that's what I need. And I agree with you about the meme all dragons. That's going to be really fun. But I think if I'm already spending 200, I think it's like 235 base or something for a level 4 wizard in Warriors. So therefore, I see that as you just immediately knock that off his points cost, or you don't knock it off, but I'm just like, cool, I really am spending an extra 230 points for what is the dragon. And therefore my level 4, while a big target, is also pretty survivable. Most of the way that you keep your level 4 survivable in Warriors or most armies is just, move them the fuck out the way, like from stuff that's trying to hurt them. But this means he can be in a fight. He only knows one spell lore, dark magic's not arguably the best spell lore, but I think there's a good argument
not
that
the worst.
There's an argument that putting all the spells concentrated into one space together is actually pretty nice. Yeah,
and it's also definitely not the worst at all. He's also Tzeentch, so he gets access to the best of the chaos signature spells because it's a really good magic missile. I think he's a really, really cool item.
I don't know if he does do that. I think
does he not have?
You need to have. He does have the Mark of Tzeentch, but I think you might need to have Law of Chaos as a special rule, which he doesn't have. Something to be talked through. He doesn't have that that I can see.
Okay. Oh, maybe I misspeak.
It's okay. I think you need to have access to the law of chaos in order to be able to take it. But if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. Yeah. Which is cool. All right. So
what about he does have that? He does have his downside. Or are we going to get into his specials?
We're gonna talk about the Spirit of Galrauch now. Mark of Tzeentch means that he's going to have magic res 1 and flaming and magical attacks. That's what that means. That's what it means. Okay. So Spirit of Galrauch, which is his special rule, is during the start of turn subphase, each of your turns make a leadership test for Galrauch. If the test is passed, Galrauch is controlled as normal. However, if it's failed, Galrauch's spirit rebels from within, whilst Galrauch's spirit is rebelling. Because he was a normal dragon that got corrupted by chaos, right?
Do you think he had 2 heads before that?
Great question. I don't know.
Maybe he was just doing the old Dragon Circus tour, and he just got mixed up with the wrong crowd.
Well, if he fails it, then he goes back to his clown days, and he's a level wizard. His wizardry level is reduced to 1, and he can only cast 1 spell per turn. He becomes subject to random move 2d6 special rule. And then if he is enraged in combat, he must direct D3 of his attacks against himself, rounding any fractions down. Any wounds that Galrauch causes against himself are added to the enemy's combat results score. which is pretty rough. So let's talk about what he does in combat so that we know. His strength is used at AP2. So it's going to be 6 attacks at weapon skill 6, which is great. Strength 6 at AP2. It's a pretty good attack profile.
Ain't bad.
Not bad at all.
Unless we forget the stomps as well.
Yes, the stomps is also excellent. Then he has got the 2-headed dragon. Galrauch may use either dark fire or chaos or fumes of contagion during the shooting phase of its turn, and it cannot use both during the same turn. So dark fire or chaos is strength. It's a breath weapon. Strength 4, AP1, flaming attacks and magical attacks, and flames of contagion is only strength 2, breath weapon and magical attacks. However, no armor save is permitted against wounds caused by this, but wards and other saves can be attempted as normal. I think, as we talk about it later, the big news from the book is that the Warpfire Dragon turns off ward saves. So there's a potential to hit a unit with this, no armor saves, no ward saves. That should really murder some stuff. Which of the breath weapons did you overly love?
There is another one that maybe because of our early release, incredibly awesome potato camera one. There is one that I believe is a toughness test that he can use once per game, and it's a remove from play ability.
Oh yes, the Breath of Change. It's up here. So this is the other thing. Once per game, instead of using Dark Fire, Chaos, or Fumes of Contagion. So this is the one you preferred. You weren't too bothered about the other two?
Those are just your standard Chaos Dragon loadout. This is his special breath.
Right, okay.
This is his hot Zinchi breath.
So only do this once per game. Instead of using Dark Fire, Chaos, or Fuse of Contagion, Galrauch may instead use the Breath of Change. Place Flame Template with its broad end over the intended target and its narrow end touching Galrauch's base edge anywhere along its front arc. The template must lie entirely within Galrauch's vision arc. Any model whose base lies underneath the template risks being hit. Any model hit friend or foe must immediately make a toughness test. If the test is failed, the model is overwhelmed by the warping power of chaos and is immediately removed from play as a casualty. And if the test is passed, they're able to fend off the onslaught of chaotic energy. So, it's a bit of a triple stippy situation, as I like to call them. So,
go ahead.
You're going to need to be near the unit. You are fast. That's good. And then be able to lay the breath weapon over them. So that's first stipulation. Number 2, then risk of being hit. So you got to hit them. Then they need to fail a toughness test, and that isn't a bunch of really bad stipulations, but it is like 3 steps of failure. First one you're controlling. Next 2 are dice rolls. But in that situation, you could kill whole things, which is great.
Yeah, like whole things. So I mean, people do Monster Slayer Sword for their chance to spike that 6 and kill a monster. He can do that. You're although that template would just be a chance. Never mind. So big models, it probably is just not going to cover the whole base, no matter how well you're good, no matter how well you do. That's a funny little thing I've never thought about. If you have a big base, you have a less chance of being hit.
That's good.
Anyway, but yeah, I think the toughness test. I know it might be a little triggering for Rob, but that is the source of the power of something called the Purple Sun of Xerxes, from a bygone age, and it was also removed from play. But yeah, anytime you have anytime you have just like a remove from play ability, especially on a toughness test when there's a lot of like toughness 3 and toughness 4 around there, that's pretty heavy-handed.
And also, as it's been pointed out, Word of Pain spell drops toughness as well from Dark Magic. So I think it's from Dark Magic. So that's so you can can stack all these things together for that one big hit, which is nice because what we're really talking about is 500 points would be a lot of points. I know he's not quite 450-ish points. It would be a lot of points to just go for that single situation where you can just delete another 400 point unit or whatever. But it's nice that that's just in there along with what is an absolutely wicked profile as well. I'd argue.
Yeah, it's a nice bonus. And also, you were talking about one of the
stipulations.
Stipulations is getting him into position, but again, a nice combo with Dark Magic as Infernal Gateway, which is sort of allows him to basically teleport himself, so he could angle himself. Although 6 inches away, no, he'd still be within range of his template. So if you're looking to punk a single thing. Think about getting back behind enemy lines, for example, and using that to remove a caster who's just sort of chilling or something like that. I don't know. It just feels fun, and it's a nice thing. It's definitely a nice to have.
And he's also got fantastic like threat range. You know, fly 10.
He is a dragon.
Fly 10, swift stride, which is great. I think the other fun thing about this guy, it's just all the spellcasting. I think that's just very, very effective. There was something else I wanted to point out, but I've forgotten what it was. Something fun. Oh, that was it. That he can be included in your normal Warriors of Chaos roster. So you don't have to play either of the two armies of infamy. So this is now just a new character available to Warriors players. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, and actually that's true for both of these things, because actually in general, a big overarching statement is a lot of the things we're going to talk about, including some of the really good things, are only applicable to their their themed army. Galrauch and Frydaal.
Yeah,
Frydaal are eligible for Grand Army status.
I think so. Galrauch model isn't available, so like that's not out, and maybe it will be. And obviously, there's lots of 3D prints out there in the world. But I personally suspect to see a Galrauch meta. I think people love the best shit, and this is a monster that's a level 4 wizard. I think you'll immediately see that take place in the game. Like, I think people will take that. I don't know what you think, but I think people take that a lot.
I think we'll definitely see the meme. That we were already seeing it in the TSN Arena group chat. The dragon meme list will appear. I'll be curious to see outside of that. Would Galrauch make an appearance? Because like over a straight caster, he does have some downsides. Namely, he can't take Lore Familiar. So he also doesn't have the Pulpit. He basically doesn't have access to some of the things that Chaos can do to really juice its magic-y stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think like the other one, I feel like it's a cool choice that makes you maybe rethink how you're gonna build your army, because I think Galrauch would definitely be something you're building around. I think it might push you into a narrower build style that may or may not be fun, but probably fun to play. Maybe not the most interesting game outside of that.
I think Double Dragon might end up being quite popular. Like, I know the other dragon, if there is like ends up being a 25% cap on points, is like pretty bare bones. But it's still very tough to deal with. Like even when not cooked out on all the toys. So that's Galrauch. So just before we get into any other units and maybe the armies of infamy, let's take because we talked about stuff that could be taken in normal armies. So let's just dive straight in with the magic items, which also can be taken in your regular army as well, right? Well, so most of them can, some of them can't. So if
some of them are restricted,
So if you're just playing normal warriors. So we'll start out with magic weapons. So we've got a new one, the Obsidian Dreadglaive, which is 55 points. Strength plus 2, AP 1, Armor Bane 1, Killing Blow, magical attacks, requires 2 hands, and has Strike Last. But the Obsidian Dreadglaive may only be taken on a model in the Heralds of Darkness army of infamy. So that's not one that we're going to cover now. But, what do you think about this? You normally hate the big point weapons.
It's because normally they deserve it, and I think this one does too. Strike last for 55 points? Come on.
Yeah, that's fair.
What do you really... And requires 2 hands, so you're striking last and you don't get to use your shield, so that you get Armor Bane 1, Killing Blow, Strength plus 2, and -1. Why?
I mean, Killing Blow is fairly attractive, I'd say, but yeah, you're right.
You're going to be dead. You're dead.
Well, maybe, because this is in the Heralds of Darkness army, right? And you have to actually take quite a lot of characters in that. Kind of. So I would maybe you're just going to kit out a load of characters just with like a good sword and then hope for the best. I don't know. The Dagger of the Dark Pantheon's got everyone chattering. It's only 35 points. It's strength as user, AP2 magical attacks. But for each wounded enemy unit loses a result of an attack made with a dagger of the Dark Pantheon, its wielder may apply a +1 modifier to their next casting or dispel roll.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
You think the whole town is talking about this?
No, I just think people are. It's like, because it sounds great until you work out how it works. Does that make sense? Like, it's an initially really exciting thing. You're like, oh my god, I'll do like 3. I'll do 3 wounds to the enemy. I'll get +3 to cast. You're like, yeah, but you're still in combat, so you can't cast anything. And they're like,
you're probably in combat. Also, you're in combat. That's a problem for a caster. Even in Warriors of Chaos, where they have armor, they've got a good profile, all that kind of stuff, you still probably don't want your caster in combat, bro.
I agree with you. I mean, I don't hate the idea of maybe trying to take like one of the assailment spells and just like making a fighty caster, but not great.
Can they have illusion? I don't think Warriors of Chaos can have illusion, can they?
No. But what about just sticking? Are you interested in taking a Sorcerer Lord on a dragon?
Probably not.
Just saying, it's there.
I mean, I've run a caster on a wyvern, and it was fine.
It's fine.
It wasn't bad. It was fine.
The next one, the Chieftain's Blade, can only be taken in Wolves of the Sea armies. This is a different one of the armies of infamy. Whilst engaging in challenge, the wielder has +1 modifier to their rolls to hit. So this is kind of good because there's a thing in that army where you're going to do some challenges at the start of the game.
Yes.
So maybe this is the reason it's there, literally, to be like, take this for that. I don't ever spend 30 points just for that battle at the start, basically.
Yeah, and also there's got to be a champion, and the champions are usually at most able to take 25 points.
Yes.
So maybe it doesn't work. I mean, this isn't super bad at 30 points. I mean, it does give you a little bit of AP. It gives you the armor bane, and better to hit is okay. Again, I'm not running home and firing Chieftain's Blade in my list.
No, me either. And the last one, Taskmaster Scourge, is done in combat at AP 1, and it got extra attacks 1 and magical attacks. It's only 25 points. Models whose troop type is infantry only. During the command subphase of the turn, the wielder of the Scourge may attempt to urge those around them into battle with a lash of their whip by making a leadership test. If the test is passed, till the start of next turn subphase, the character and any unit they have joined gain an additional D3 modifier to their movement characteristic to a maximum of 10.
So that's a little more interesting. That's a little more interesting. I mean, there is some terms and conditions there, obviously. Leadership test needs to be passed. It's once per game, I assume.
During the command subphase, models whose troop type, I don't know if it says once per game.
In which case, okay, cool. All right. I think that will depend. That needs a specific use case. But again, that feels like something that would be useful on an ambushing unit that needs to have a little extra giddy up. To get into position. So yeah, I think that one's a little more interesting. And at 25 points, potentially can be taken on a champion.
Very nice. Then we go into armor, but none of the weapons are necessarily. I would say that actually the Taskmaster Scourge is the most interesting of the lot because you got the opportunity to do more, right?
Yeah, and movement is always, a movement on infantry always an issue. So anything you can do to juice that, probably worth a look.
Next up, Magic Armor. We've got 2 suits of Magic Armor. The Demonic Plate Mail is 50 points. Models whose troop type is infantry or cavalry only. The Demonic Plate Mail is a suit of full plate armor. In addition, its wearer improves the toughness and its initiative characteristic by 1. Love
50
that.
points.
Love that.
Extra toughness is a good form of defense and also plate. I don't know if it's overriding, some of the more usual choices for Magic Armor.
I mean, I think I like Armor of Silver Steel for a 3-up save, but I mean, like getting +1 toughness feels pretty nice. Especially, you could put it on a Demon Prince as well. Increase the toughness of a Demon Prince. That's fun. So then I like the 3-up save, but this will give him a 4-up save, but +1 toughness.
Wouldn't the Demon Prince be? Isn't he a monster?
He's infantry, I think. Monstrous infantry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's monstrous infantry. So I like the demonic plate mail. I think it's pretty fun on a bunch of different stuff, especially if you like going Nurgle and you can get +1 toughness as well. So you can really stack something up. Then you got Mighty Serpents Scale Mail for 40 points. Then the Mighty it may only be taken by models as the Wolves of Sea Army of Infamy. Mighty Serpents Scale Mail is a suit of heavy armor. In addition, its wearer grants Strike First special rule. Strike First.
40 points.
So you'd think it's too much?
I think isn't there a common magic item that gives you Strike First for way less than that? I think so.
Yeah, but you get heavy armor.
You could probably for 3 or 4 points, depending on what the model is. I guess that's special because the Marauders are mostly going to be in like light armor and stuff. So yeah,
nipple tassels is what they're really in.
Yeah,
do you want to take us through the talismans?
Sure. Talisman of the Carrion Crew, 45 points. The bearer of the Talisman of the Carrion Crew has the regen 5+ and poison attack special rule. Now we're talking. At 45 points, it's a talisman. So that's a great slot. Yeah, that one I like.
Okay.
So now you're getting two things. One of them is a defensive extra save. A lot of the Warriors of Chaos obviously already have Chaos armor, so they already have ward saves. So now you're going to be able to stack a triple save onto a character and give them poison attacks, which is never a bad thing. I like that a lot.
I like that a lot as well. I think that's good. I think there's some really good cases and like builds with that. I think that's really nice, genuinely.
And chat pointing out, Sword of Swiftness is 25 points, which I assume is the strike first common magic item.
Yeah.
Yep. Good times.
The next one is the Talisman of Soaring Eagle, which is 35 points. The bearer of the Talisman of the Soaring Eagle has the Magic Resistance 2 special rule. In addition, the bearer has a 5 ward save against wounds suffered that were caused by an attack that has magical attack special rule. So only actually useful against Marauders because all of the actual other Chaos dudes already have 5 ward saves. So you don't need that. Magic Res 2, when the Mark of Tzeentch is already going to give you Magic Res 1. But, you know, you could go Nurgle and then get Magic Res for the unit, which is super nice for 35 points. But then that guy doesn't need the ward save because he's in a unit. So I don't really know sure about where the Talisman of Eagle or Soaring Eagle sits as a unit choice. But Magic Res 2 for 35 points. I think it's cheaper to get other ways, but that's fine.
Yep. I would agree. Magic standards?
Yeah. Excited about this.
Okay, here we go. Banner of the Dark Powers. 50 points. Unit carrying the Banner of the Dark Powers gains the Magic Res -3 special rule.
Nice. Really nice.
That is a lot of Magic Res. Yeah. Banner of the Baying Hound, 25 points. The Banner of the Baying Hound may only be taken by a model in a Heralds of Darkness army. A unit carrying the Banner of the Baying Hound gains the Vanguard special rule.
Huge fan of this. Huge fan of this.
So if you're really leaning into, say, a big old brick at Chosen, I mean, they might have a different banner you want to bring, but that's getting them up there that much faster, right?
Well, at 25 points, like if you wanted to build a brick, right? 25 points is like your standard, your standard bearer. Then you could have a BSB in there if you wanted to, mounted. Mm-hmm. Just throw good points after bad, and then you've got even more. Like you can bring more to it as well. I think that's really good. Vanguard is especially good. I like that. I think you can take Marauder Cav in the Heralds of Darkness army. I'll have to check.
Yes.
In which case, I love that so hard because then I'm immediately up there, immediately threatening you turn one with just a big brick of cheap goons and causing you some drama. So that's incredibly fun. So I like that.
Causing drama with cheap goons. That should be on our t-shirt.
So I love that. I think that's great. I think that's actually probably one of the best things in here. Actually,
that is a good one.
Yeah, that's one of the best ones.
Hit me with the next one.
Sea Raider's Crest is 25 points and can only be taken in a Sea Wolves army. A unit carrying the Sea Raider's Crest gains the Fear special rule, and if the unit already has Fear special rule, against Terror special rule. I actually quite like this because obviously it reduces enemy units' Terror down to Fear. Like when they are charging you. And actually, that's not a bad shout. Making it so you cause fear so that terror isn't as effective versus your fairly fragile low leadership army. Not bad.
Yeah, and also they're going to be near the board edge if they're coming in ambushing, so they can be spooked out of there real easy.
Don't want that.
Don't want that. So yeah, actually, that's a really good shout, man. I would have given this a big old thumbs down, but that is a very good use case for it.
It's like a terror defense, right? It's like terror -1.
Yeah, because terror is actually like. At least in my brain, super underrated. Like terror is very, very good. Just on the way it triggers, very good. Icon of Darkness for 20 points. Any enemy model that targets a unit carrying this Icon of Darkness during the shooting phase, suffer an additional -1 to hit modifier. That's actually really good because that stacks with the Chaos upgrade you get where units are -1 to be hit from shooting as well. So like whatever it's called, the Gifts of Chaos. So now you can have -2 hit modifier to shooting at a unit that unit's buried in. That's actually pretty sweet.
that, like, you know, we talked about the range projection being pretty difficult in Warriors of Chaos. So now, like, you're like, oh, this unit's -2 to be shot at. You're like, okay, like, feels very good on a unit that's incredibly expensive, maybe overcosted, that's got 2 up armor save. Can't think of one. Probably Chosen Knights. -2 to hit them from shooting means good.
Yes. But yeah, well, I guess it protects them a bit from poison.
Yeah,
that would be a good reason to do that.
Iron Drakes, Hellblasters, like a bunch of stuff, and then if you just wanted to go,
hell yeah,
and then if you want to go all the way and just be like, cool, I'm going to go for Magic Res 3. You're like, this unit, like at range, fuck off.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot. To be honest. Then we got enchanted item, enchantment. You got the Blood School Pendant, which is cast, which is 45 points. Sorry, model suture type is infantry only. Instead of acting normally, the bearer of the Blood School Pendant may choose to inflict a single strength 8 hit on every enemy model in base contact with it with an AP of 1, and these hits have killing blow. So no from me, thank you.
Well, hold on. Instead of attacking normally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And only models in base combat.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Because immediately I was thinking of something with a big base. And like, yeah, what does a dragon really need to be 1 extra strength?
No.
No, I think we're okay. I don't know. Anything else got a really big fat base?
Not really.
You know what? I wish you could take this on.
A dragon.
Cannon.
Oh.
Rod of the Damned, 40 points. The bearer of the Rod of the Damned may cast the summoning spell from the lore of Demonology as a bound spell with a power level of 2.
Yeah.
It's a bad ruby ring.
But it's another ruby ring. I guess that's the point. So you've got ruby ring and you've got the rod. So now you can just double up on that shooting if you want to, which is, you know, good because you probably need it in the army.
Yep. It gives you that extra option. Okay. Ooh, you got some barding. Yeah,
Demon Forge barding is 35 points. And then may only be taken by model shoot type as cavalry, obviously, in a Heralds of Darkness army. On a turn in which the bearer charge, their mount and all mounts in the unit they have joined have a +1 modifier to their attacks characteristic, which is pretty sick and dope. Pretty sick and dope. So all the horses have got an additional attack. Or all the mounted models have got an additional attack.
Yeah. I think that's super not bad for 35 points.
That's really not bad. No.
Yeah, that's doubling your output. I mean, they're not like crazy attacks, but yeah, when Skull Crushers come back, really great.
I just think this is really nice when, like, if your plan is just to absolutely load up on attacks, you know, if you're going for some of the units we're going to talk about in a bit, where they already can be up to 3 attacks base. Now my horse is doing 2 attacks as well. That's 5 attacks per model. It feels like a lot of fucking attacks to throw at people.
Yes,
like,
agreed.
Love that.
I think, getting the absolute most you can out of every point in that unit as far as output is concerned is the name of the game. And that just doubles what you're doing from your horses. It's fantastic.
Love that. Then Arcane items. The Scepter of Power is 55 points. Power, Harry Potter. The bearer of the Scepter of Power may apply a +1 modifier to their casting or dispelling rolls. However, should they roll a natural double when making a casting or dispel roll, the bearer suffers a single strength 10 hit with AP 3. After the effect's been resolved, it's 55 points. No, thank you.
Probably a no thank you on that one, especially since it's in the arcane items. It's competing with some like amazing things. On the bright side, it doesn't give you an automatic dispel, which can introduce some harsher things, and you're getting a ward save probably usually, right? Because they're gonna have chaos armor usually. So you know, I mean, it's not horrendous, but like I'm immediately thinking of like Idol of Gork, which gives me extra range and a reroll for 40 points. So yeah, anyway, Scepter of Power.
And you got the Infernal Puppet anyway. You've got everything you ever need in that situation.
Yes, exactly. Grimoire of Ogvald. Rather than 50 points, rather than randomly generating the spells they know, and regardless of their level of wizardry, the bearer of the Grimoire of Ogvald knows all 7 spells from their chosen lore of magic, including the signature spell. However, they can only cast a number of spells equal to their level of wizardry per turn. What the hell?
That's dope.
Now that's something.
That's good. Because then having all the options, depending on which caster you're taking, I think that's great.
So would this also allow you to get a 6th? Although you have to, because you have to swap. I'm just wondering, like, if you can get the specific Chaos Mark 1. Like, could you get the Tzeentch spell with this?
It allows you to know all 7 spells from the chosen law of magic. And then, so I think you could swap, because you know them,
still
right?
have to swap it, yeah, okay.
Unless it's, because when you're generating the spells, you could swap one out. Damn you, Curse of Arrow of Attraction. You'll be swapped out every time.
In this army, yes. That just gives you a double lore familiar potential, basically. And this is even better than a lore familiar. And it's not wildly more expensive. I think that is fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. Definitely. And then you got the Tome of the Dark Gods, 35 points, Models of Market Chaos, and especially if you're like, sorry, just to talk about last one, especially if you need that spell. If you're in a Demon Prince, probably you always want Arcane Urgency for that additional little move, get him like out of dodge, out of charge arcs, etc. I think that's really nice. I think if you're running the right builds for infantry, you want those very specific control spells against the enemy. It's good. Tome of the Dark Gods, 35 points, Models of the Market Chaos, Undivided only. When generating their spells, the bearer of the Tome of the Dark Gods may discard any number of their randomly generated spells. For each spell they discard, they may select any spell from the Lore of Chaos as if they had the corresponding Mark of Chaos. That is very cool.
That's very cool. I don't know how many. I don't know. That's just very cool to me. I don't know how many more than other than Tzeentch you really want, though.
You want the plus 1 toughness from Nurgle? It will be. Yeah. I'll be happy with. That would not be bad at all.
Yeah, cool. All right. Not a lot of good ones.
Not loads of good ones. I think there's some good options. You're already taking that caster all the time, right? We got a good additional Hunts upgrade, so all the horses are getting stronger. We've got the ability to start vanguarding up some units now, which is very nice.
I like that, yes.
We can help tech into not being shot as much, which is good. And then we can upgrade some characters a little bit, which is nice.
And I just, because I was very critical of the Serpent Scale Mill, which gives you the first strike special for 40 points, pointed out that it's much better to not have that on the weapon, because the Sword of Striking obviously doesn't have any good AP or stuff. So you can combo that with a better weapon to give you strike first with a deadly weapon. I guess that's the idea of the Mighty Serpent Scale Mill. I just like that insight from the chat.
That
Still
is
not
fun.
good, I think.
Still sucks. All right, so we're going to start looking at the different army builds, also the armies of infamy now. I think that's a good place to start. So first one, the super exciting one, is the Wolves of the Sea. So this is just more of your marauders. So going through the army composition list, a 0 to 1 Chaos Lord, a Demon Prince or Sorcerer Lord, up to 1 Exalted Champion or Exalted Sorcerer per 1,000 points, and then Aspiring Champions, Marauders, and Tribe Chieftains. So Tribe Chieftains is a new army entry to look at. Then for core, Chaos Marauders, Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Tribe Berserkers, and Chaos Warhounds. Don't need to take Warriors, can't take Warriors, and that's great. And then special, Chaos Warriors, Chaos Chariots, Skin Wolves, which we'll talk about in a bit, Marauder, Tribe Huskarls, Chaos Spawn, and then and that's 50%, and up to 33% of your points may be spent on Ogres, Trolls, and Dragon Ogres, Gigantic Chaos Spawn, which we'll talk about in a bit, Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, and then also per unit of Dragon Ogres, and then a Chaos Giant per 1,000 points as well. Mercenaries, you can have Gore Herds and Ungore Herds, which is cute. I think that's really fun. And then a Tribe Chieftain can be your BSB. So not an Exalted Champion, I think. So, oh no, an Aspiring Champion still can be. Sorry. And any models that have options to purchase magic items may purchase common or Warriors of Chaos magic items. So you still get ones from the core book as well. So how do you feel about the army composition, Bud?
It's interesting. The one major thing would be that your Chaos Lord, Demon Prince, and Sorcerer Lord are all crammed into sort of 1 0 to 1 category. So that does make you choose sort of magic or dragon, I guess, in a kind of a way.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I like that, core still at 25% here. Outside of that, not a lot of things really changing massively that you would care about. I think as far as a base, as far as what the theme of this is, these are the Viking Raiders. I love the idea of a Chaos Giant like striding off of a ship. And also the Beastmen, thematically, I remember when they were teasing some rules, that people were wondering if this would be like a combo army. interesting that they're mercenaries and not allies.
Yes. Yes, not allies. Yeah, that makes sense, because I think at this point there isn't, like you said, that pervasive overhead chaos energy. So like, they're just like, they're pretty much just like barbaric, like, raiders, and then some goat men come out of the woods. They must be like, maybe.
Hey, we're down with your jam. Can we drink some beers with you and rape and pillage? Yes. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
So the special rules that you get if you do run this army composition, there's 3 of them, I think. Yeah, there's 3. First one, Favor the Gods. If a character within a Wolves of Sea army kills their opponent in a challenge, a character within a challenge, kills their opponent, they must immediately roll on the Eye of the Gods table. In addition, should a unit, now this is where it gets really spicy, within a Wolves of Sea army claim the standard of an enemy unit, as a trophy of war, that unit may immediately make a roll on the Gaze of the Gods table, changing references from this model to this unit. Like you said, there aren't many standards necessarily rocking around, and there is a chance to make your unit stupid, but there's also the chance to make your unit crazy good. What do you think?
Yeah, spice them up a little extra, especially when we look at like those berserkers and stuff. That can be a fun thing. The biggest problem with this rule is remembering that situation. Another interesting thing is like they may roll on the Gaze of the Gods as the unit, but you must roll if you're a character and you want to challenge, which is kind of interesting because you can't duck the stupidity risk. I think Gaze of the Gods can really tune up characters and adding that to units. There's some really like supercharged options that will appear there. The condition of taking a trophy is a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, if it was just wipe a unit out, like if it just ran down a unit or, destroyed a unit or ran a unit down, I think that would be fine. So I think that's not a problem. So this is favorite. Yeah. That's a good point. Also being pointed out as well. You could always have Galrauch in there. He could be in this army.
Aha.
So like Galrauch I think he can be in this army. I think so. He could be in a normal Warriors army anyway, or maybe any roster. But then he's rolling on the Eye of the Gods at the start of the turn, and then rolling on the Eye of the Gods when he starts fighting units in a challenge or heroes in a challenge. That's actually pretty spicy because he can get plus attacks. He can go up strength. He's already strength 6, strength 7. Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like a tuned up Galrauch.
Yeah, that's fun. That's very fun. Very likely to be stupid. I like that he'll also have stupidity and also his own special test to pass every time. That would be a lot.
Yes. You're right, because they'd be separate tests.
Yeah, they'd be separate tests. There'd be a BSB stood next to him. It's like, I got you, bud. Right, so next rule is Seaborn Raiders. Units of, you're also going to win. It's fine. You can have a Chaos Lord in this roster. You can.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Chaos Lord and the Dragon then. Off he goes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fine.
Maybe you just sculpt it so the dragon's just a big boat.
Yes. So then you got Seaborn Raiders, units of Chaos Marauders and the Marauder Horsemen within a Sea Wolves of the Sea Army may have the Ambusher special rule for plus 1 point per model. Aspiring champions whose troop type is infantry or cavalry within a Wolves army also can get ambushers for plus 10. So this is where you can build a whole ambushing army, or at least several ambushing units, and then key in with our last character. So she's going to make it so that you're going to be able to more reliably ambush. I think this is going to be very good for some armies. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a really fun thing to key on. It stacks with the special characters rule there as well. I think one thing to point out is that it's very specific about who can have the Ambusher special rule, and there may or may not be one that's not included in that, like the fancy new ones.
Yes, the Berserkers.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think Berserkers would be good at ambushing.
What, just not too sneaky?
I just think if you're a lunatic, I think the patience to ambush, yeah. Like
that feels exactly like what old JTY was at. Like he's just reading the draft from Other Dan. Is like, what was this? The Berserker ambushing? Get out of here!
Feels like I feel like a Berserker is exactly like a dog. The minute you open any can You just
it just runs through the wall.
You just open a can in the kitchen. The dog's like, well, that's obviously food for me. So I can see why they wouldn't ambush. But that's great. Definitely being able to build ambush blocks. I like the idea already of building Chaos Marauder Horsemen in an ambush block, because they've obviously got that big long charge when they come on. And obviously this is a way of being able to kind of skip frenzy for a turn, because like you would arrive after you would do the charge, so you can.
Oh, good one.
So you're more better position in the priority stack. So like that's nice. So you're like, oh, I'm positioned here now. Yes, you can turn to face me, but that's a unit I want to hit, and I am kind of another type of lunatic. You know, a frenzied lunatic at that point. But
imagine if you're a frenzied berserker lunatic.
double berserker. And then the next rule is the rule that's got everyone really excited, I think. The Warrior's Duel.
It's fun.
Yeah. Instead of rolling off to determine which player takes the first turn, you may challenge your opponent to a Warrior's Duel. If your opponent accepts, both players choose a single unit champion with a wound characteristic of 1, whose troop type is infantry or cavalry. The chosen combatants then fight as if engaged in a challenge, fighting as many rounds of combat as necessary to determine a victor. Once a victor has been determined, the model's controlling player takes the first turn. If both champions are slain, the players must roll off as normal. If the challenge is declined, the Wolves of the Sea Army counts as having won the roll-off to determine which player takes the first turn. Note that should you play Bretonia, then it counts as having played for the Blessing of the Lady. Should Bretonia Army decline the challenge, it cannot play for the Blessing, etc., etc. So what do you think about this?
I think it's a cool way to determine the first round of the game. I think if I was leaning into the Wolves of the Sea, this is how I would make sure every single game started, just because it's a good opportunity to take the tarp off, get those shirts off, you know, get your weird Conan mustache going.
I agree.
Does Conan have a mustache? Anyway, I really, really like it. And if you build for it too, maybe gives you an extra opportunity to like definitely take that first turn and really bank on it.
Yes, I think I think what I like about this is that it isn't overly impactful either way. Like as a special rule for your army, you're like, maybe I'd like a third special rule that adds more to what my army does. But it is really, really fun. You could even turn up with a little pre-built kind of like Colosseum that you put down.
A little arena.
Little arena. You just put it down. You just put your little dudes inside. We're like,
I like that.
It's time. And especially if you gear yourself up to be because you know you're going to do the challenge, you could build like a character that's like, or a unit champ that is fairly geared up to do the job, which is not a bad shout. It adds to the time in the game, not too much, but a little bit.
I don't know, it's a worthy add to the time limit, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
But I agree. Yeah, very cool.
I think it's super cool. I think it's absolutely great. I love that.
And then Bretonians with their blessing making everything complicated as always.
Exactly. So should we start looking at like the different? We got the chieftain, the Marauder tribe chieftain to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So he's just a regular infantry, so not heavy infantry, 25 mil, and so missing from this, in my opinion, is a Marauder wizard. Because you can't
put a shaman.
You can't put any of your wizards in with your marauders.
Because they're skirmish?
No, because they're regular infantry and the others are heavy infantry.
I think that's the only problem if you're skirmishing with them.
Oh, it's only for skirmishing. All right, perfect. Well,
I assume they're open order too, so yeah.
That opens that up. That's nice. Yeah. Anyway, okay, well, good. Love that. So toughness 4, strength 4. And then 2 wounds, obviously, but it's only 65 points. Bargain basement, right? And then has got light armor. Is got the ambusher special rule. Chaos armor 6+, so 6 at ward save. As mark of Chaos Undivided, but obviously you can mark Rallying Cry and Warband. So a nice little start. You can only give them a shield, and I don't think you can give them heavy armor. Nope. 50 points of magic items can be on a horse, if you'd like them to be. Flail, great weapon, cavalry spear. And then you can give them a mark. What are your thoughts here?
I don't know really where he would slot in.
The Marauder Tribe Chieftain.
Yeah, like I mean, like what is he really giving you? You know, like what is the extra juice he's at? Like maybe a little bit more combat punch, but like,
I mean, 3 attacks. It's not the best. I think maybe the ability to so he is someone who can be a BSB along with an exalted champion. If you are running purely Marauders, then maybe you want someone also on a horse. 65 points. I mean, on a horse, he's now going to be 79 points. Don't think he's like good enough to be like a full redirector. It's a little bit too expensive. Isn't probably good enough. I mean, 65 points, you just bang him in ambush and don't even think about it, right? Don't add a point. Don't maybe make him. Don't make him anything, and just be like, cool. There's a little guy that can tie up a war machine. Here I go.
6 points. Okay,
that's not terrible, right?
Okay, there's something. Yes.
Give him a flail in case he makes a charge. Give him a javelin, whatever you want. Give him a thing.
He can hide as well. Just protect the 65 points if that's important. Yeah. Okay. That might be a situation. Thank you for finding something. I mean, I think really the BSB point is a good one. If you want to have a thematic BSB in the army, then that would be it. But he feels more like a themey choice than necessarily something I'm reaching for. Because he's still 65 points, maybe isn't like super high in the context of Warriors of Chaos. But I mean, it's still pretty steep price point, I think, for just like an individual combat character.
A not particularly great combat character. Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, if you stick him on a horse, it's 79 points. Feels like a lot to just be like an ambusher. But if you say to your opponent, like, I've got 2 Marauder Tribe Chieftains, I think you can take multiples of these, right? I've got 3 of them, and they're in ambush. Good luck. Your opponent's like, okay, cool. You spent 180 points, but you could be shutting down all sorts, which is pretty fun. And if they do end up in the back lines, then rear charges, all sorts of stuff potentially happening there. Okay, but he's not necessarily going to win a fight.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. Right, so that's what I'm thinking with the Marauder Tribe Chieftain. And then we get into the Berserkers. So the Marauder Tribe Berserkers, as regular infantry, it starts at a unit size of 5. They're 8 points a model. They have light armor, and they are toughness 4, which is nice from the Marauders.
That is nice. Yeah.
Strength 3. They've only got 1 attack each. They're movement 5, which is nice. So a little bit faster. Weapon skill 4.
Faster than a dwarf.
Weapon skill 4 is still great for an infantry unit in other armies. That's great.
Yes.
But I think the reason people are excited about these guys is because they've got built-in frenzy, which is good. They've got undivided, move through cover, which is also really good. They've got relentless warriors as a special rule, and also skirmishers and warband. And relentless warriors is a model this special rule has a 6 ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by non-magical enemy attacks, which is good. And then, of course, you can put these guys into ambush, give them a full command, and you can either give them additional hand weapons, which would take them up to 3 attacks each, or flails.
So, as noted, I don't think you can put these guys in ambush. Am I right?
It's an upgrade on their profile.
Is it on their profile?
Yeah. Any unit may have the ambush as special.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then hell yeah. And also just the fact that they're skirmishers, so they can charge 360. And they're frenzied, so they've got a nice amount of attacks. This feels like a really great min unit type of a situation. Oh yeah, and then of course you can. This guy could be could be your champ. Does the champion count as charging in the challenge? Because that would matter for a lot of these rules.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, for the first turn roll off thing, because so many of those rules like key off of charging, right?
Yeah,
like if he had a flail, if he had if he's frenzied, the 2 attacks. I'm wondering if this guy's going to win you any battles, to go first.
Yeah. Well, unit of 5 with ambushes, that's going to take us up to like 45 points, 9 points a model. Then if we add a champ, if we want to, so we're looking at 53 points, or additional hand weapons going to be 58 points. So a 58 point unit that is just in ambush Again, we've already got our 3 chieftains in ambush. Now we've got 3 of these min units in ambush. Your opponent doesn't know what is happening. They just know that you've wasted a lot of points on ambushing units. But like that's pretty fun. And if you don't build them as ambushing, which is fine, they're a nice, they're not too expensive. They're not a terrible like little redirect unit. They're not going to panic because they've got frenzy, so that's not bad. You know, pretty good.
I think these are really. I think they're really great, and I think they can just dump a bucket of dice on somebody. Yeah, no, I think they're really great.
Yeah, you like these?
Initiative 3. They have berserkers. They have berserkers in the title. Initiative probably doesn't matter. I imagine you're taking flails with these guys. Yeah,
I think so. Getting the charge off, I think, would be maybe more difficult than you would think. They're still move 5. Like, I guess what you're saying is you ambush them and flails. So you're just like always there, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's the idea. I guess so. Yeah. I mean, then you could get spicy, like a unit of 10.
They have Warband, by the way. That helps. So they can re-roll that charge roll.
Yeah. So it's just a unit of 10 is looking at 21 attacks, which is pretty nice. Ambushing away with flails. It's pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah, pretty berserkery.
But I think what's nice about this is these aren't just included. Oh no, you can only take these in a Seawolves army, right?
I do believe so.
Yeah, you can only take these in a Seawolves army.
Yeah.
So that is a shame. You can't put them in a regular roster. That's fine. So then we got the Huskarls. So the Mordor Tribe Huskarls. So these are a cavalry unit, a light cavalry unit, 5 models. A unit of 5 models. They've got light armor, obviously. And then you can give them every type of upgrade that's available to every unit in the game. Let's talk about what their core rules are to start with. Close Order, Counter Charge, Furious Charge, which makes these very exciting. Mark of Chaos, Undivided, Swift Stride, and Warband. So the reason I say that Furious Charge is pretty good because it's +1 attack on the charge. Then we know that we can give them Frenzy from Mark of Khorne. So now we've got 3 attacks on the charge. And now we also know that we can take, is it a banner? Or at some item where we could give our horses an additional attack. Yeah. So we got 5 attacks from this unit per model. And then, in addition, you can take cavalry, spears, or flails. Love flails. Thrown axes or javelins. They could have a heavy armor if they want to, and shield. So you can have a 4-up armor save unit, which feels insane. Because I can use the shields against shooting, right? But then if I was to take flails, yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. But you can also always use your hand weapon if you really want that 4-up save, right? Yeah, I mean, if you compare these to Chaos Knights, you can have you can have these at like 20. What are they going to be? Like 22 points. Maybe 23 points a model, but they'll have a 4-up save. They're super fucking fast, but they're only 22 points per wound versus, but they've got 3 attacks each versus a Chosen. To get 3 attacks each on Chosen is like 42 points. So it's like half the cost. And you still got a 4-up armor save. And then you can have Drilled. And you can have a badass magic item on the guy for a challenge if you wish. These are insanely good.
I think the Marauder Tribe Huskarls might be my favorite of these units. Just because of like this feels like really useful, like a really useful cavalry option for the points. And you can bring it in all kinds of dynamic ways. Also, I know I'm really hung up on this, but here we go. There's someone who can put 25 points of special weapons onto in your first sword. So this could be the guy answering the challenge, and he brings his horse with him. So that's also going to help beat up maybe a random champion. So yeah, I really, really like this guy. Also, maybe a good option for those really beautiful new Marauder Horsemen in the AOS range.
Yeah, Dark Earth ones, they look good. Yeah, I think these are super nice, like very, very nice. And then I like Drilled on them as well. I think you could build. I've been toying with, and Val already knows this. You've been listening to the show. I've been toying with just little minimum Marauder Horse Cav flail units already. they're just so cheap, so effective. There's a lot of attacks, either to add to combat res or to throw away. And the fact that you can stack this many attacks, there's not a lot of armies that can stack that volume of attacks on a model.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Chat pointed out something, that the strength modifier on a flail applies. Sorry, I need to pause for a second. I can just say that.
That's fine. Go for it.
Something that chat pointed out, which I think is a very good one, because we were talking about flails and when they trigger, pointed out that it's actually just in the first round of combat. Even when you're charged, the flail works. So you get that +2 strength, and you keep your AP value throughout. So flails seem to be a bit of a no-brainer. Just require 2 hands, so you're not getting your shield, but that seems to be fine. These guys just want to beat up people.
So the Huskarls.
We were just fawning over Huskarls.
Huskarls. So we've talked about those. I like Huskarls a lot. I think they're great. And yes, it was also pointed out that the banner for either Vanguard or getting plus attacks on Haunces is not going to be available to the Huskarls. It's a bit of a shame. But what's nice about the Huskarls is you've also got Furious Charge. So the ability to go up to 3 attacks per model is pretty wild. I'm going to say that on a fast unit as well. Okay, so that is, I think that's everything that kind of fits into that category for like that, that kind of Army of Infamy. Everything else is like additional units. So what do you think about the Army of Infamy? We've covered the Huskarls, we've covered the Berserkers. I
think Skinwolves are only Seawolves.
Oh, Skinwolves also only Seawolves.
I don't think Skinwolves can even be taken in a Grand Army. I think it's literally only.
Oh yes, okay.
Seawolves.
I apologize.
Also, shout out the studio, since we in the Warriors of Chaos preview video we did, they had unpainted pictures of the Skinwolves, and in the follow up articles they were painted.
Thanks for listening.
I think that was Square Based. You can thank Square Based for painted studio versions of Skinwolves, guys. Definitely us.
You can thank us for a lot. So feel free in the comments below. Okay, Skinwolves, ladies and gentlemen. Skinwolves start out as a unit of 2 with 40 mil, then monstrous infantry. As if we needed more. We've already got all of the others. So they are weapon skill 5, amazing, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds apiece with 3 attacks apiece at initiative 4. So 45 points. That's incredible. That's 15 points of wound. That is still cheaper than Warriors. Okay.
I think the knock on these guys is probably survivability.
Yes, of course. Yeah, nowhere near as survivable.
Yeah.
But they are really fast. They're movement 7. They have swift stride. They have got Blood Rage, which is from the Beast of Chaos book, which means they can potentially get themselves Blood Rage, and Primal Fury, which means they can get Frenzy, and they can also get plus the Primal Fury is reroll 1s. Is it? Is that what Primal Fury is? It's not Blood Greed, which is plus another 1 Frenzy. It's not what it is. But either way, they're the Mark of Chaos Undivided. They've got Regen, which is their only survivability. They're Skirmishers, so 360 charge, which is pretty nice. And they've got... Go on.
Swift Stride.
And Swift Stride. Yeah, movement 7 Swift Stride.
It's very good.
It's very good. It's very good.
I like that a lot. And can these guys ambush?
These guys cannot ambush, but they've got the Warp Form special rule. When this unit's combat, is chosen during step 1.1 of the Choose Fight Combat subphase, choose one of the following transfigurations. Each transfiguration lasts until your next start of turn subphase, but it's choose. Do not pick. Do not roll. It's choose.
That's rare.
Yeah. So you don't roll it. So you can either have enlarged claws. The armor-piercing characteristic of this unit's special weapon is improved by 1. Which it already has no armor pen. And then additionally, they gain the Armor Bane 2 special rule, so that'll be AP 3 if they roll 6s. You can have Barbed Protrusions, where this unit gains the extra attack special rule, so that's going to be 4 attacks each. And they got Toughened Flesh. This unit improves its toughness characteristic by 1 and its armor value by 2. So it goes to toughness 5 and then goes up to a 5-up armor save. So what do you think about like that as a package?
I I think I don't mind it. I guess trying to see here. Improve the tough character by 1. Do we have? Okay, so you can give him armor bane and a little bit of AP automatically if you're going into something tough. And you always get to do one of those, eh?
You always get to do one of those.
So you go to basically a 5/5 with tough and flesh and toughness 5. That's dope. Or you can just dump more attacks or more AP attacks. That feels really good. When I first looked at these guys, pass. I didn't even really read them, to be honest with you. And then I guess this feels pretty good. I don't mind the skin wolves.
Can someone let me know? It's monstrous infantry and a demon prince is monstrous infantry. Is there some reason that a demon prince can't join? Maybe demon prince has a loner and I've never read it. I don't think they do though. Let me know if a demon prince can go with some skin wolves. Maybe you can't take only skin wolves can. You can take a demon prince in this army though.
Yes.
Maybe you could put one in. I don't know. There might be a reason why not. I don't know. Maybe there's like some subsection of warp spawned or something. If he doesn't fly, you can now put a demon prince in with a skin wolves, which means you could give him you could go battle magic, and you could give him a 5-up ward, which is pretty nice. You could arcane urgency these guys, 14 inches, like that energy as well.
How fast is a walking demon prince though?
Oh, he's movement 6, so okay. it would be 12.
It's a demon. What a weird unit.
It does also mean you get to do like a really sick like demon prince werewolf.
True. They wouldn't be able to be skirmishers, I don't think, because he could be skirmishers because he's the same thing. He's the same subtype.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Well, only if see someone apparently warp spawn says no. There we go. There's the reason not. I did say that there would. I did say there would be some reason. I thought it might be warp spawn. Who knows? Either way, whatever. Let's deal with them as a unit themselves to start with.
Okay. Yes. Of course.
So 120. Like, let's say we take 4. Let's take 4. 180 points. That's gonna get us. 12 wounds for that, which is pretty nice. It's going to get us 6, 12, 13 attacks, unless we decide to go for extra attacks, which is pretty good. Their strength and toughness 4. I think maybe the strength thing is going to be an issue. Only strength 4.
Okay.
Like who are they hitting? What's their plan? They're hitting infantry. Is there lots of that around?
Well, I think there's enough toughness, like lower toughness things. Like, I mean, they can catch cavalry. Like this thing's reaching out and doing stuff like that. Like, I may be comparing them against, like, I don't know, is Chosen a fair comparison? At the points cost, yes. Certainly they move the same speed, but they lose a lot of things. Like they don't have their counter charge. They don't have first charge. I don't know. They're interesting. Versus Huskarls as well. Like, I don't know if I like them more than that.
I don't know who they threaten. That's my major issue.
Yeah.
If they're hitting armor, they can get AP1, but is that enough? If they're hitting something big, they don't have enough strength. But like they're cool. Definitely very cool. They're very
werewolves.
Very fragile, like you said as well. So that does conclude our roster for the fellows, for the Sea Wolves, I think.
I do believe that is correct.
Okay, so what do you think of the Sea Wolves? Now we're here.
I think the Sea Wolves are, I think they're obviously not the best army of infamy, I don't think. But they are a really great example of what makes armies of infamy cool. They're a remix. I feel like they probably represent how the studio or JTY and Other Dan are imagining Chaos's place right now. They're like there's a roaming band of lunatics, vaguely associated with some form of evil, and that's how they're manifesting. So they're more like just raw power, like anger, aggro, and can pop up from the bushes with their drunken beastmen friends.
Which, as obviously this is written by the people who live in Nottingham, that's exactly how Nottingham is.
It's hanging out in Sherwood Forest.
It's actually just Sherwood.
Sherwood.
We have
that would be Sherwood Forest would be redundant. I understand that.
No. Sorry, no. Sherwood Forest is a place. We have a small area, like a fairly underprivileged area called Sherwood.
Sherwood. Got it.
Anyway, I like it. I think that obviously the special character adds lots to it, which is fun. I do like that we kind of unlock the idea that we can start rolling the Eye of the Gods extra for Galrauch, doing challenges and stuff. That's fun as well. Or even just a regular, Chaos Lord on some sort of mount is fun. I like all the different Marauder units. I like the ambushing. I love it.
And that Eye of the Gods thing actually isn't as much of an edge case as you'd think, because the number one thing you'll do if you're charged by a solo dragon is challenge him, right? So like that's going to come up all the time. So that is a cool little extra thing with Galrauch.
Yeah. Double
is
dragon.
The first thing I think of when I think of ravaging Vikings named Wolves of the Sea? Probably not. No. But hey, it's a cool little combo.
No. To be fair though, I guess it's kind of like when you follow an ambulance in the in the traffic. It's just like when they see a mental chaos dragon running at the enemy, they'll think, I'll follow that guy. I reckon.
Yes.
I think that's quite fun. All right, so that's a cool thing about this army. I think it's a good army. I think it's fun. Do I think it's maybe added as much as we've seen with the other armies of infamy? Maybe not. Okay, so should we look at the next army of infamy, or do you want to look at some of the stuff? Let's do the next army of infamy. That makes sense.
Sure. Maybe a quick pause.
All right, so Heralds of Darkness. Do you want to tell us what's in the army composition for this?
Would I ever? All right, so up to half your army, obvi, can be spent on a 0-1 Chaos Lord or Demon Prince, 0-1 Exalted Champion or Sorcerer Lord per 1,000 points, Aspiring Champions, and Exalted Sorcerers. I think basically your bog standard Grand Army there. Mm-hmm. The big difference, though, from a Grand Army perspective, is that suddenly all of that core you loved in the deep dive on the Grand Army, now not only do you need 25%, no, you need 33% of your army has to be core now, which has to include 1+ unit of Chaos Knights. Can also be drawn from Marauder Horsemen, Chaos Warhounds. One nice thing, 0-1 Chaos Chariot may be taken as core to maybe fatten that up a little bit. So that's probably the biggest womp womp amongst some womp womps about this army. But in special,
I don't hate this because if there's you always play around with your core points, right? And Chaos Warhounds, I would very comfortably take 4 units of those. Marauder Horsemen, there's another build where I would take, frenzied min units with flails just hitting stuff. So now I'm already up to 3-ish 100 points, maybe a bit more. So then, yeah, sure, I've got to take the Chaos Knights. That's not the best. And maybe I could even take a Chariot, like you said. But I think I can fill it up with stuff I would want to take anyway, apart from Chaos Knights, which I then have to take, which is rough.
When you're making a Chaos Grand Army, mm-hmm. Are you thinking to yourself, like I do with some armies, I'm not really thinking about my core spend. It is what it is because I'm taking stuff I want anyway. Or are you trying to land that mother sucker on 500 points exactly?
In this case, 500 points exactly.
Well, in this case, it's going to be 600 and something points.
I reckon you can build a Chaos Knight bus.
Yeah, sure, but it just forces you into it, and you're also I think you would rather have, the same amount as core. It feels like they made this list of things, and they're like, oh, this is just the Grand Army, more core, that's and horses. But anyway, so I think it's patently the worst thing about it is that you got to dump more points in the stuff that you probably don't want.
Yeah, that's rough. Especially Chaos Knights, which you don't want.
Yeah. So special. Up to 50% of your army's points value may be spent on. Why isn't it 0-1 unit of chosen Chaos Knights in core? That would have been sick. 0-1 unit of chosen Chaos Knights. 0-1 chosen Chaos Chariots per 1,000 points.
New unit.
New unit. Pretty dope unit, by the way.
Yeah.
Chaos Spawn, Chaos Chariots, and Chimeras. And of course, our friends the Dragon Ogres are allowed to be in this because they're mounting themselves. And then in rare, we're allowed to take Gorby's Chariots, 0-1 Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, 0-1 Gigantic Spawn of Chaos per 1,000 points, which we haven't talked about yet. We should have, but it's awesome, so it's all good. 0-1 Chaos Giant per 1,000 points. Don't want to spam them Giants. And 0-1 Warpfire Dragon.
Oh my God. But then, very cutely, the mercenaries could be Centaur chieftains and Centaur herds. Yes, let's go.
Because those are the units you want to take for sure. Because you already have Dragon Ogres alone in it. So I went off a little bit about them. You're not too mad about the army comp?
I am mad about it because I know that there's actually more restrictions coming down the pipeline. Like next page when we talk about the special rules. But I'm willing to push a rock uphill. And basically what this army of infamy is doing is do you want to build a cavalry army? I'm like, I do. I bought all the models before I ever saw any rules for the old world. That's what I want to do. I already know it's not good. So I'm already here and we're fine with it. Does that make sense? So yes, it's not good, but I can live with it.
But here's my other thing is that you could already build an all cavalry army.
Yeah, I know, but there's a bonus. Let's get to the bonuses.
Okay, let's get to that. Let's get to those bonuses.
Okay, go for it. Tell me about the bonuses. Wow me.
As soon as I scroll to it, where did I put it?
Next page.
I'm failing.
Oh, I'll get you while you're looking.
All right, you pick it up. Oh, wait, no, mounted host. So we just covered it. Sorry. All characters within a Heralds of Darkness army must be mounted or have the Fly X special rule. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
Steeds of Darkness. When a unit in this army whose troop type is cavalry or chariot makes a charge, flee, or pursuit roll, it may re-roll any dice that roll a natural 1 before discarding any dice that are required to be discarded.
Okay. Legit, more successful charges with your cavalry bus. I'm in.
I think specifically, I like that for charging through difficult terrain. Yeah. Because rolling that 1 is just devastating. And it can be a real problem there. Okay, cool. So that's our. So we got a special rule. Let's see what else they get. The Shadow Grows.
Oh no.
For each character your army includes that has a Mark of Chaos other than Mark of Chaos Undivided.
Correct.
It must also include a non-character unit with the same Mark of Chaos and vice versa.
Uh-oh.
For example, if your army includes 2 characters with Mark of Corn, it must also include 2 non-characters units with the Mark of Corn.
But it also means that if you have 2 Mark of Corn units, you must have 2 characters with a Mark of Corn.
Yeah, the vice versa is nasty on that one.
Yeah.
And it also means that you can only mark as many units as you have marked characters?
Yes.
That's brutal.
That's rough. I'm not gonna lie. That's rough. Absolutely. Yeah. I would say one of the things about everyone in the comments now who's watching this, Rob, it's just bad, and I understand that. I'm just trying to say, trying to think it through. You can build some pretty killy, not very expensive exalted champions. Chaos Lord could be in the bus. You can put a lot of murder in the front of a cavalry block if you really want to.
Sure.
And then eventually that cavalry block can get broken apart. Maybe the knights die, but then you got a dude running off and something else. I think the biggest problem is when that goes into a dragon, does it beat it? Probably not. That's the major drama, right? You've got some really brutal restrictions already in points, and now you've got some and the only bonus that you get for this army is reroll ones on the charge. That's it.
It's not even reroll charges. It's so. This is what I would say, because I think this is the genuinely first bad, probably never use it army of infamy.
Correct.
What do you get for taking an army of infamy? And there's really, I would say, one thing, and that is chosen chaos chariots, which you can mount your characters on, and which you can take 1 per 1,000 points. And the chosen chaos chariot has some pretty good stuff.
Wait, do you the Warpfire dragon and also gigantic chaos spawn available in the main army?
Everything. They're available in every army.
R.I.P.
So my thing is, though, if you are the person, and I really want to say this very loud, if you're a person who's like, oh, but I want my mounted chaos army to be awesome, you already have that. The Grand Army, if you really want to run mounted chaos stuff, the Grand Army, literally by using the Grand Army, you are losing rerolling ones.
Well, no, you do. That's not true. You do get actually 2 other bonuses. So you have access to the fun barding, which is going to give all your horses +1 attack, and you also gain access to the banner, which gives you Vanguard. So if you were gonna if you were going to just go min Chaos Knights and then go into the Chosen section and then go for a big Chosen block, or even if you were to go min Knights and stick all characters in the Night Bus, that Night Bus is now going to Vanguard up, and that's, you're there. You're now charging turn 1. You don't have to mess around. That's not bad. It's a bonus is what I'm saying. I'm saying there are 2 other bonuses. They are points locked, but there are 2 other bonuses, at least.
Okay. I'm just saying, I feel like there's more likely there's going to be a lot of because Chaos players, again, can never have anything. I know you're upsiding it, and that's good. I just don't want people to despair. This is, like Rob said, you can find maybe some neat things to do here. I think this is mostly meant to be just a themey, hint at what is to come with Chaos. That's kind of all it is. It's not like, I don't know, it doesn't blow me away with look at the cool things I can do that, fix some of the holes with that we talked about with Chaos Cavalry and stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't hate Vanguarded up a whole unit. I don't hate that at all. That's scary. Someone just goes, here's all my shit. So not terrible.
Okay.
Stick it down a flank, Vanguard it up, fucking double march it up, you got drilled on Chosen. You could be really you could be in the flank and be a problem.
Sure. Yeah. Doubling up on those horsey attacks. Yeah. Okay.
But still not great, I don't think.
Thanks for going upside on it. I guess.
Try my hardest, X. I was like, what the fuck?
We said it before. You're professional, sir. All right.
You want to talk about Chosen Chaos Chariots? Sell me on these.
So the codes. So we looked at chariots, and I was trying to sell you on just a regular chariot before, because I guess maybe I just like chariots. But so Chosen Chaos Chariots. One good thing is they have 2 chosen guys on them. They're 140 points. So stock, they are.
That's good. 30 points more than normal chariot.
20 points more, 30 points more, 30 points more. You're right. Yeah. And in exchange for that, you're getting more swings from the guys on the back. They still have their armor value of 3+. They have, and they also have hand weapons and halberds. That's pretty dope.
Nice.
So they're gonna be. So the guys up top are also going to be stronger. They have close order, counter charge.
Hello.
On a chariot is pretty good. Because obviously a chariot is doing a lot of its damage from its impact hits.
Yeah.
So if a chariot is getting punked by getting charged first, that's a problem. They have ensorcelled weapons. They have first charge. And they are obviously stock Mark of Chaos Undivided. It can be also used as a mount. So that's one way to do it. And can also be equipped with any of the Marks of Chaos for an extra 10 points. Well, maybe you don't necessarily have to do it for these guys. I guess that's basically my big thing is something like having, although still obviously doesn't have Swiss Stride, it's a heavy chariot. It does give you the ability to still have the benefits of a chariot, even if it's receiving a charge from those things that are going to threaten it the most. Stuff with Swiss Stride, stuff that are going to be able to beat them to the punch. Not so fast. They have countercharge.
Okay. All right, I love that. I think that no Swiss Stride, I understand, but countercharge, excellent. Yeah, okay, you sold me. That's not terrible. Genuinely, especially being able to do those impact hits when you charge me feels nice. And movement 7, so faster than the Gore Beast. So also additionally nice. Yeah, good. All right, pretty fun. You sold me earlier on maybe trying to run a load of chariots. So this gives me an opportunity to run even more chariots. Chariots on chariots from my core units as well. That's a lot of chariots.
Yeah. So that to me is like if I'm trying to talk myself into running this army, just a butt ton of chariots, it feels like fun. I don't know. And they are maybe a little more points efficient than, just your Chaos Knights and stuff. So I don't know.
Do you know what's really nice?
I happen to have a butt ton of chariots.
Oh, nice. Good. Do you know what's really nice is one unit entry in a book can really just give you an entire army. That is really nice. Like you say, a character on a chariot, a lord on chariot, a couple of exalted champions on chariots, maybe a BSB, you make them whatever mark you want. Nurgle's survivability, Khorne is just for hilarious. Just everyone just being lunatics charging around is very fun. And then there's so many options for more chariots in the roster. 80% of your army. Well, no, not quite, because of fucking 33% of the core, whatever. But like, but that's fun.
Yeah, that would be my pitch.
Yeah. All right,
let's go home.
That's a good pitch. All right, I'm ready. That's good.
And then I think that's the only specific unit to these guys.
It's the only specific units to these guys, but they do also say you can take a new unit, the Warpfire, well, new to Old World now, but not new forever, the Warpfire Dragon, which is also causing a furore on the internet. So Warpfire Dragon is a behemoth that is toughness 6 with 6 wounds, has full plate armor for a 4+, and doesn't have just got the 4+ armor save, and then has got 5 attacks at weapon skill 6, at strength 6 as well. And those are wicked claws, which we'll talk about in a moment. Like I said, it's got full plate armor, but can be a level 2 wizard for up to an additional 60 points. And it's got battle magic, demonology, and dark magic. So it's also got the choice as well, which is great. And then it's got explosive demise, special rule, fire and chaos. It's got fly 10. It's a large target. It's got the law of chaos, so it can drop to signature spells if it wants to. It's got magical attacks. Magic res 2 is wonderful. And then regen 5 up, D6 stop attack, Swift Stride, Terror. Like, what's not to love? It's very expensive, only 65 points more than an Ragnarok. But arguably, Ragnarok is like my dumpster monster that I love bullying every time.
All right, so maybe I'll join with the Dark Elf stance and try and have fun with an Ragnarok spider. I think he is fun, for the record, but we're not talking about that right now. You figured me. The Warpfire Dragon, pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, and we haven't even got to all the reasons he is good. We'll do those reasons and we'll come back to it. I think that's fair. Yeah. So he's got explosive demise. When he dies, you place every unit, friend or foe within 6 inches suffers D6 for 5 hits with an AP of 2, which is very funny. I do like the idea of just putting 2 Warpfires, and I know they're probably all coming out rare, but 2 Warpfires right next to 2 Hell Cannons. I think they are all in rare, so it's not possible.
Yeah, they're all right. Not possible, yeah.
But I just want them all to explode and blow everything up. They're all dying. But anyway, so yes, if it dies, that's good, because you're going to send it at the enemy. So when, unlike the Hell Cannon, which dies in your lines, it's going to charge and die in their lines, which is what you want, and then it explodes and kills all their stuff, which is great.
Yes.
Although I don't really like special rules that work if you're losing, so... then you got Fire and Chaos. Warpfire Dragon has a 5 ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by an attack that has either the magical attacks or flaming attack special rule, which is good.
Okay.
Very excellent. And then the big news is probably the Aura, which is any models, friend or foe, are not permitted to take ward saves while they're within 3 inches of this model.
That's nasty. That's nasty.
Yeah.
Is there much else anywhere that nullifies a ward save?
I don't know. There's a couple of magic items, I think, but I don't think there's many. Not to this degree.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. And again, what a wonderful pal to hang out with Galrauch, who can then suddenly really represent against even tough other things. I think that's just very good. Do you ever make this guy a wizard?
I don't know. Dropping to just like a base spell, because so yeah, making him a wizard. I'm not sure. You could always just drop to like a base spell. Law of Chaos. Like you can always like be like, cool, I've got Tzeentch's Fireball to whatever it's called, to just spam that. Give it a try. Mm-hmm. It's only 30 points, but he's already very expensive, so probably not.
Yeah. Magic Res -2. He's got the 5+ regen. So Spectrum Warpfire. I don't know. I like this guy because he's a dragon and he does something that no one else really does, which is that like nullifying the ward save. You got to be danger close. That's one issue. He's on a nice wide base though. He does 60 by 100 millimeters. And a pretty cool throwback model as well. I think that can't be understated.
Yeah, I think the 5 attacks, but he's got the D6 stomps. Like he's pretty survivable, which is very nice. But like you say, like he's just gives you another rare slot is really weak in this army. And now we're going to basically this roster has been like, because you can take this guy in the normal roster, right? So now you can just be like, okay, cool. I've got Galrauch. I've got my Lord on Dragon. I've got this guy. I'm a triple dragon guy now. And you're like, cool. Because if knights aren't doing it, if being on a horse isn't good enough, just be on a dragon. Or be a dragon.
Yes. Or be a dragon. And you have two different ways to not even be on a dragon. You can be a dragon twice. I think what you just said about rare was accurate until this book, because I think there's one other thing that you are probably going to want to take over that dragon.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I'm rating the dragon very high. I think the dragon's excellent. His combat attack is strength as user, AP2. He's also hilariously got a bombard attack. He's got Warpfire Blast, which is cumbersome, but his multiple wounds D3+1, so better than a Hell Cannon. Which is pretty rough. Strength 4 and strength 8, and then so yeah, not too bad. But the other thing that you really want to talk about,
the bombardment. Sorry, I forgot about that. His this is a breath weapon that might actually be used. It's like a little whop of like, I guess, magic goober.
Yeah.
I think this one is. I don't know. I also like that he has that range attack. That makes him very useful, because I don't know if necessarily this is a guy you're throwing into combat so much as you want to be combat adjacent. But I don't know.
I mean, what we're really talking about is the big combat, right? Like the other dragon, the other thing that's really scary in the opponent's army that they've super tooled up. Like that maybe is your other dragons going in there or your lords going in there, but then he's going in. And it's like no ward saves. That's pretty nice. If both of them go into a unit and now you got 2d6 stomps coming out of two giant monsters, it's pretty insane.
Pretty gnarly, man. One thing to be tricky with is that the no ward saves is just everybody. It's not like targeted, so like it's friend and foe that reduces the ward save. So I guess that's why. I guess it's nice that it's limited to that 3-inch range. Because it does give you the chance to maneuver him into a combat and not maybe also nullify your own ward save.
Yes.
But I could see like me using that guy, getting them both into combat, having them perfectly positioned, and then there's a pushback, and suddenly I just took the ward save away from my my dragon. Whoopsie.
So the guy you really want to talk about is the gigantic Chaos Spawn?
The gigantic spawn of chaos. Yes, sir. So we touched a bit on the deep dive on regular chaos spawn. Wasn't too high on them. These guys, though, I think are going to be insufferable and everywhere.
Okay, tell me why.
So first of all, we have random moves as well. So it's a random movement, but we got 3d6. Much more reliable random move, if that could be a thing. And suddenly makes them like have just a tremendous threat range. Randomly you will go 17, 18 inches with this guy with no charge reaction allowed. Pretty dope. Strength 6, toughness 6 wounds, initiative 3, d6+1 attacks, leadership 10. Why?
Can I ask a question about the random move?
Yeah.
I roll a 17. I don't go straight line in a 17. Can you quickly just update people on the random move?
Oh, yeah. So like that's one thing that actually got errated. So the way random move works is literally your movement value is randomly generated in the compulsory moves phase. So 3d6, whatever that number is, becomes your movement characteristic for that phase, which is different than it used to be. It used to be you picked a direction and you moved randomly that many inches in that direction. Now you just have that as your movement budget. You can use it to wheel. You can use it to run into a unit. You can not use it at all. You don't have to move at all. It's just that the distance they can cover is random. That also means, though, that some of the early edition stuff, like pulling hook shots with them, like rolling that big distance and being able to just sort of like loop around a unit, that got changed as well. So now you have to still do the same things everyone else does when they charge, even though you're not declaring a charge, which is basically, shortest distance to the unit. You can only charge the facing that you're in, that kind of stuff. But random move is super powerful just because there's no charge reaction to them. So pretty dope. Also, they can stand still if you want. You can teleport them with... actually, you may not have access to that, Laura. Forget I said that. Anyway, back to work.
Yeah.
We've got so Behemoth, so has that base -2 AP, slashing talons, gnashing maws, and scaly skin counts as heavy armor. So they just come with a 5-up save. Maybe one of the following: gigantic spawn of Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, or Tzeentch. Each one is a bit different in the points allocation. Cheapest one is Tzeentch, Slaanesh 15, 25 for Nurgle, 20 for Khorne. And let's just quickly talk about what those are. So this is the Curse by the Gods rule. And a cruel twist of fate, those condemned to spawnhood often adopt the traits of the god who cursed them. All right, so bring up the most expensive is 25 points for Nurgle. How about this? Giant spawn of Nurgle have the poison attacks and regeneration 5-up special rules.
Nice.
So now you got a 5-up, and poison. Pretty good on -2 AP. Pretty good. After that, we've got Khorne. Gigantic spawn of Khorne have the impact hits D3 and killing blow special rules.
I want that.
Compares, so that's pretty dope. And then from there, we have Slaanesh. I think my personal favorite. Slaanesh have the countercharge and strike first special rules.
Oh, that's good.
Pretty good. And then finally, Tzeentch, gigantic spawn of Tzeentch have the flaming attacks, magical attacks, and magic rest -2 special rules for only 10 points. Not the best, but that's okay. We can't all be winners. We've got some, but wait, there's more. So in our attacks, we got slashing talons, which are -1 AP, gnashing maw, which is strength user, and -2 AP strikes last. In combat, this model may choose to make one of its attacks each turn with this weapon. For each wound an enemy unit loses as a result of an attack made with this weapon, this model immediately recovers a single lost wound.
Ooh, that's a lot of healing.
That's a lot of healing.
It's a lot of healing.
Now, it is just one attack. You got to hit with it, but you've already got 6 wounds. Like that can make this thing very frustrating to kill, I suspect. D6 +1 attacks to start with.
I mean, the toughness 6 is good enough to make it a real issue to deal with anyway, right? It's going to be very tough to get.
Oh, by the way, I didn't even talk about the special rules. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Rob.
It's okay.
I just got I get excited. I don't like talking. Sorry, I talked over you. All right. Special rules, just very quickly. Armor Bane 2, close order. First charge, immune to psych, large target, random attacks, random movement, stomp attacks D6, terror, timber, and just in case you thought you could run him down, nope, he's unbreakable.
But not unstable. Demon Prince's
not
cry.
Unstable.
Demon Prince's cry.
Not unstable. So all of that, sir, for anywhere between probably looking at 165 or 170 points, depending if you go Khorne, Nurgle, I guess or maybe Slaanesh.
Yeah, he's a nice monster. Like it's maybe it's an addition. Maybe it's an addition of monsters. But it feels like, why would I ever be spending points on anything that's not stuff like this or Galrauch or the Warpfire Dragon? They're just so much more difficult for my opponent to deal with, especially if I add them all up. If I start adding each one into a list. So what did you say this is going to be? Can I take one or multiple of these? Let me go check.
One per 1,000 points.
Okay, so you can take 2 of these. Having 2 of these running around is really, really fun. And it's just infinitely better than some Chosen Knights, some Warriors on foot. It's just more mobile, more agile, and arguably more hostile.
Yes. This guy, I don't know. I think he's rapidly going to fall into the auto-take world. Like even over the Warpfire Dragon, I think. Or you could do one of these and a Warpfire Dragon, maybe? 375? No.
No way.
So yeah, Warpfire Dragon's 375. So yeah, no. So it's these guys or the Warpfire Dragon. I think these guys are probably just such a big problem to deal with, is they have the output of that Warpfire Dragon. Maybe they don't have the weapon skill, but like, I don't know, it's just such a hard thing to kill, especially if it's just getting back some of its
also
wounds.
50% of the points of a Warpfire Dragon. You're getting 2 of these versus the Warpfire Dragon is really what we're saying. So it might just be a points conversation ultimately. You get 2 of these, you get 1 of those. Feels like getting 2 of these is just better every time. That's a really fair point. And maybe that's what this whole book is about. Like, the points are just in places you just aren't expecting. And maybe that's across the edition. but definitely it feels like the points are like in places you weren't expecting.
This guy feels for for what feels like an incredibly inefficient, generally speaking, from like a survivability to output ratio. They had I don't think Warriors of Chaos have any problem with output. I think a lot of it is just like, is it going to survive? Is it going to hang in there? And yeah, the fact that this guy isn't unstable is also, that's a good point. Good shout.
He's literally a sport of chaos.
But yeah, so also good news, can also be brought in a Beastman Brayherd's Grand Army. Didn't notice that.
That's fun. Beastman players are going to love that.
Yeah, 0 to 1 gigantic spawn of chaos per 1,000 points as a rare choice.
Yeah, and if you don't want to make buy the incredibly expensive chaos spawn, like literally a Gorgon or a Cygor are pretty good proxies, I would say, for that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They're not bad.
You could totally do that.
Especially a Gorgon with change his head around. Give him...
Put a tentacle on him.
Yes.
Boom. Chaos spawn.
Boom. Literally stick a tentacle on anything. Chaos spawn.
So yeah, there you go. That's gigantic spawn of chaos. Pretty cool, I think. And I think I'm not the only one who thinks that. The model, kind of boring. I feel like this is definitely a third-party model for me. I'm sure there's some really dope chaos spawns out there that you can do. Any cool AOS spawns?
Not really. There's this not anything at that size. I would.
It's only 60 by 100.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything out there that would fit into that at the moment. Like a big monstrous thing. Not really. I think you would have to go for a 3D print or something similar to find something that really works. There's some really great older models from Forge World, which I know that they don't sell anymore. Like the old Skarak is a cool gigantic spawn of chaos, but they don't do him anymore. Like a bunch of stuff that would be really fun. But yeah, I think this is a kit bash sort of a situation. That's a great point. Slaughter Brute, Mutilate Vortex Beast. They work.
Oh yeah, good call. Good call on those guys.
Yeah. Mutilate Vortex Beast, especially because it's definitely not in the game. So that's a great suggestion. Super
not
cheap.
In the game. Not in the game. Maybe never been good in anything. Has it ever been good in AOS? I don't know if it's ever been good in 40k.
Someone won an event with 4 once. It was really interesting.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was good. Dope. Yeah, I like that. The Vortex Beast is a great shout. Very cheap as well. And then GW will probably be okay with you using it, although maybe not if you've liked the thing. Okay, all right. Well, so anyway, that is everything that's in this roster. Everything that they've released. We've got 2 armies of infamy. We have a bunch of new magic items, and we have a ton of new units that you can use in the normal Warriors list. Val, give me your thoughts. Give me headlines. What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking that Warriors of Chaos, like some of the other fan favorites, like Empire. Again, actually no. I'm going to say that again. Warriors of Chaos right now feels like it's being funneled into monsters. Like if you want to run, a good army, you're getting pushed towards, the guy on the dragon, maybe another dragon, these gigantic chaos spawn, like just a lot of T6 durability, a lot of damage output. That feels like where the army is pushed. Whereas I think a lot of us are thinking, well, I want to run a big horde of chaos. I want that big monstrous thing. I think the most fun option for doing that is also presented in this book through the Sea Wolves, and that I think could provide for the basis for a fun, engaging more infantry-based army. So that's cool. And again, what I'm looking for from these things are remixes. However, if we're just looking at it from a pure sweatiness perspective, I think really what this does is make the archetypes of Warriors of Chaos that already exist. Again, those big high toughness guy on dragon, etc., dragon ogres, that sort of stuff, just makes that even better by adding a couple of choices, whether that's the Warpfire dragon or the or Galrauch or the gigantic chaos spawn or all of them, except for it's going to be the spawn or the Warpfire dragon, but like Galrauch, a dragon lord, and a couple chaos spawn. That's a pretty mean stew. That's a lot of toughness 6. That's pretty nasty, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, we haven't in this review at least talked about my favorite, chaos upgrades available. Strike Last. as an aura, and it's any units that are in combat are strike last. So you're striking last, and then you're being hit by 2, maybe 3 dragons. Is rough before you then fight. Feels like that's very good. So yeah, I would say that like compared to some of the other Arcane journals, I don't feel like we've expanded as much of the army as possible, unless you're running away from what is very obvious strong choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess you did get the infantry, but they're the Marauder side, not the Warriors of Chaos. But I think as we covered in the beginning, I think that time will come. I think we're going to see the more ascendant versions of Chaos in the future. And right now we have all of the big monsters, or maybe a crafty, arm like board control style sea wolves.
I mean, and who doesn't want to paint up like 3 dragons versus 40 marauders that get murdered by anything that touches them?
And also, if you're someone out there that is right now concerned, like, oh man, more dragons, don't worry. JTY had some tactical advice in his latest article, and
he did.
I thought it gave us, first of all, it's a bit of a meme. I remember way back when local Canadian Scary was talking about how to counter something in the 40k meta, and he was just like, no, just bring more chain swords, and that became a bit of a meme. JTY did a bit of a bring more chain swords moment.
He did
by suggesting that you just need a Minotaur or some cannons to deal with, triple armor save dragons. But at its core, I think his point was that, these big models are super cool. He said expensive, which I thought was interesting for a Games Workshop person to mention price. But, we put a lot of effort into them. They shouldn't just immediately die, which is what the experience was, I think, for monsters for a long time in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we probably overcooked it one way, but we did get insight into the thought there. They're supposed to be tough. They're supposed to be hard to kill. Maybe we just need to do more to limit how much of them you can have, because it really does skew things and makes for non-interactive games, right?
I think what they don't understand, JTY included, as much as I think he's smart, I really do. I think Games Workshop inherently has like an on-table problem. Maybe it's because they only ever play on like a 3x3 board, but like they do not understand mobility. Like the strength and toughness of dragons and other large models is almost usurped by its utility in speed and its threat ranges and its ability to project power at range. Like the reason, points aside between Unit X and Unit Y, if Unit X can always guarantee its charge into Unit Y before the other way around, then the other unit needs to be tougher and able to take that charge. Otherwise, it loses 100% of the time. Like,
yes,
especially because you have very guaranteed charges in the old world. When you have your movement plus a dice roll plus swift stride, that is so much more guaranteed than the other way around. And they aren't there yet. Whatever, I don't know what not failing, but like the thing dying isn't really as relevant, or the thing surviving isn't really as relevant as the fact that you can never charge it first. And they just like, if dragons were, more like, if dragons were all like movement 6, and didn't have swift stride, you'd be like, okay, I think I can manage that a lot more.
You would have the opportunity to play around it a lot more for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I think. Well, you mentioned, I don't know if it was in this video or another one, but you mentioned wanting to do a discussion around threat ranges. I think that's a really, really fantastic thing, because also I think it helps people maybe think through, why maybe infantry has got a problem, and why certain infantry is still taken, but not a lot of it is. So I think that's a really great video idea that people would like.
Yeah,
I'd like to watch it.
Cool. Well, we'll do that. But I've loved making this video. And even though we have talked about the fact that, yes, more dragons are in here and it's more fun for the dragon kin, there's still loads of really fun rules. And my first thing I'll try and do is write an ambushing marauder list. That'll be my first thing. I like the idea of doing that. So let's try that. If I face a dragon, I don't know what I'll do. If I face 3, I don't know what I'll do either. But I'll try really hard.
Your instincts were I think originally correct. A whole lot of minimum units in ambush, and just hope that they can't gobble them all up. because that's one way to do it too.
All right, perfect. Hey, well, I hope you've all enjoyed it. Leave in the comments below what you think about this Arcane Journal, what you think about the show. I hope you've enjoyed the show as well. Next week, we'll be wrapping up the painting competition, which has all been wrapped up now, which is good, and start talking about the next painting competition, as well as events that me and Val have also played at events. Just everything's all happened at once. So loads of stuff to talk about. We'll do that soon. Loads of love, and thanks for listening. Stay square blessed.